So today we're going to be talking about a fun topic, which is event planning. So as a professional organizer, I plan events, I do day of coordination, and I also plan events for myself. I actually have an all ladies travel group, which I plan a lot of events for. And today I'm going to be walking you through the basics of planning a fabulous event. So first things first is you want to make sure that you pick a date with a few alternative dates just in case your main date is not available. And now you're ready to get into the details that's going to make up your event. So a great place to start when planning events is a budget planning tool or cost analysis breakdown. And the premise of this is basically to track your expenses. So you want to see where your money is going, right? If you have a fixed cost, there's a category for that. If the course is broken down per person, you have a category for that as well, and it's breaking it down for you, it's doing the calculations for you. So on my budget planning tool, I also have a pie chart that reflects where the event funds are being allocated. So if adjustments are needed, I can quickly reflect and identify where or what category needs adjustments, so I can put myself back on budget or back in track. So recently I set up a brunch for 17 people. The restaurant that I chose had a prefix meal at a set cost. So while I had the set cost, what the restaurant did not include was all the additions we were going to have to pay, such as tax, gratuity. I added a toast, and the price was based per person. There was a service charge and all those additions. So with a tool like this, it was very beneficial for me. I was able to put in those calculations and supply my event goers with a final cost. The benefit of that is we're using one form of payment. Everything is done in advance. There's no surprises at the end of the night, and everybody could just come to the event, enjoy themselves, not worry about extra costs, not worrying about who's drinking what, if people are adding additions to the bill, you don't have to worry about that. So it definitely has its perks and benefits. So if you definitely have an event that is based on per person and requires additional cost, and you're trying to figure that out, using a budget planning tool is always a great tool to use, because it does everything for you and you'll get accurate calculations. So let's talk about keeping a vendor list. So a vendor list is basically if your event is comprised of multiple vendors, which could be equipment rentals, entertainment such as a DJ, guest speakers if you're doing a conference, whatever vendors you're using. The whole premise is that you want to keep all your vendor details in one centralized place, right? So this is a list that I created myself. I made it my own. And I have the contact name, so whoever I'm dealing with, or if they are directly need to deal with someone else, I always record their name so I know who to refer back to. Their phone number, of course, so I can get in contact with them. Their email. One thing I would suggest is if you have a phone number, always get an email. So if discussions are being had in between, if you're not doing such a formalized process that you're not using contracts and you're not changing the contract, you want to make sure that any changes or anything discussed for your event is in writing. And that just helps avoid any misunderstandings. And of course, if there is any misunderstandings that do come up, you could refer back to the email, something actually that's tangible in writing, that could show what you have agreed upon and what is owed to you if that's the situation. And no event is complete without a proper guest list or payment tracker. And this is just a great way to keep track of who is attending your event, who paid. It actually houses their basic information, so their name, phone number, email. Of course, if you're mailing out invitations, you want a category for their address. If you accept multiple ways of payment, a payment category is always good. And of course, if there's ever discrepancies, you have a date to reference back to. And it's always good to have a notes section. So, specifically this was for a brunch. So I had a note section with, if a person, they didn't eat dairy products, or they were vegan, those are kind of examples you could write in the note section. And what planning is ever complete without a proper to-do list? So this list is going to consist of everything you need to do, making sure that every I is dotted, every T is crossed. So if you need to go visit different venues, you're going to put that on your list. If you need to speak to different vendors, you're going to put that on your list. Sending out invitations, I should say. If you're, creating a flyer, when you're producing it, when you're sending it out, so on and so forth. Every place you need to visit, every person you need to speak to, everything you need to buy, everything you need to design, everything is going to go on this list. It's going to be your blueprint. It's going to be your guide to making sure that everything is done and you haven't missed anything. So depending on what type of event you're having, you might want to stay in contact with the event goers. So this might form more in line with launch parties, conferences, group meetups, networking events, trade shows, things of that nature. So I use this form to stay in contact with my group members. So my group is a public group, and I'm usually recommended, by other females. They might have other friends or family members who are interested in joining an all-girls group. They're interested in like social and travel events, and just looking for a sisterhood. So so I made this form to basically for them to stay in the know and we could keep in contact. So it just has their basic information. I print this out. I have it available for the day of my event, and I just pass it around the table so they could fill it out. And it's their name, their city, their county, their Facebook username, Instagram username, mobile number, email, and then what type of events they're interested in. And it gives me like a good idea of what type of events to plan, who's interested in what. And then I have a Facebook page and Instagram page for the group, so I just add them to the group. And so they're added, so they'll just be up to date with all the events that's happening. So the last piece of bridging your event details together is creating a flyer or invitation for your event. So for my specific situation, I created an event flyer. It's easy to pass around, it's easy to share. And like I said, for my specific situation, we have a Facebook and Instagram page where we can actually just post it there and everybody can be aware of it. These are easy to create. I created everything on my Mac through Pages and Numbers. So if you guys haven't checked that out, if you have a Mac, definitely check out those templates. If you don't have a Mac, you'll find templates in Microsoft Word, Excel. They're easy to use. All you have to do is just manipulate the information, manipulate the pictures for what you want to insert, and voila, you have your own personalized flyer. So why not? Another great tip is sending out your invites or flyers with a great amount of anticipation. The sooner the better. You could always create a buzz feed around your event as well. Basically just trying to get an idea of who will be interested in the event before you kind of go in and get into all the intricate details of creating the event. So that's always some good advice as well. So now it's time to view venues. So definitely make sure you're taking some time to go out, view different venues, see what works for you and your event. Make sure you are checking out the space that you actually want to reserve for your specific reservation. Make sure you're looking at different table layouts, tablecloths, the view, how private the area is, how quiet it is, space measurements, all that great stuff. Definitely when you're checking out venues, you want to make sure you are observing the ambiance, right? So is it suited for your specific event? Make sure that there is a waiting area, especially if you're doing events in the winter like it is now. You definitely also want to check out the view and outdoor space. If you definitely have smokers, this would be a plus for you. It'll give people a space that they can go out and take a quick smoke. And definitely make sure you have adequate parking space. It's crazy when you're having an event and you can't find parking. One item I love to give out during events is just a small gift bag, just a token of my appreciation for coming to my event. Another item that I like to have, not necessarily give out, is balloons. Balloons are great for centerpieces, they're great to decorate the table, and they're always good as a visionary for guests to find your specific table or where you're located at. Next, let's discuss name tags. So name tags are great if you're having an event where people don't know one another, group outings, things of that nature, meetups. So I actually found these great labels at the Container Store. And what's great about them is that they're easy to carry around. They're easy to detach from its backing, and you could just carry a pen, have people write their names, and right there you just have like labels. And what's great about it is it fits easily into a purse. It's nice and small in a little booklet, so it's no fuss, no mess to carry around. So if you're planning an event where everyone doesn't know you, it's great to carry around business cards for your group, business cards for your business, whatever have you. It's good to have it, nice and centralized, somewhere you can, grab it easily and just give out some cards. So let's talk about prepping and getting dressed for your event. Always make sure to dress to impress, especially if you're representing a business or a client. You want to make sure you are presenting yourself in the best light. You want to make sure you're picking out your clothes a day in advance, or if even more days in advance if you can. Make sure you are properly ironed, your clothes are nice and pressed. Definitely make these preparations well in advance, so the day of you're not running around looking for things, trying to find something to wear. That's the last thing you want to do when you have an event. You want to make sure that everything that you can take care of, you take care of in advance. And so you want to make sure that you're nice and relaxed the day of, so you're not forgetting anything and not going crazy. And last piece of advice for having the best organized event is to make sure that everything you need to take with you is packed the day before. Get into your car, put everything into the trunk, everything you need that you're not going to use in the morning, balloons, gift bags, even your purse, documents. Make sure that is all packed away, so the day of you are not forgetting anything. And definitely review your checklist one last time before you head out the door to make sure you have everything that you need. So yay, your event has finally arrived. One thing to make sure you do is to view your setup. Just take a quick peek at your setup. Just make sure your table placement is correct. If you were promised a specific view, make sure you are where you're supposed to be, so on and so forth. And one last thing I recommend is stopping at the reservation desk. Just making sure that the front desk, the hostess or host, knows that you have arrived, knows how to direct your parties. So if you're known by different names or nicknames, or certain people know you by a group name or an event name, whatever it is, just make sure that the front desk has a list of all those various variations, so when your guests do arrive, they are able to find you. So guys, that concludes this video. I hope you found the tips and strategies helpful. If you have an event coming up, share, let's talk about it in the comments. I would love to hear some feedback of what you guys have coming up and how you plan to strategize. If you definitely found this video helpful, or you liked the layout, definitely give me a like. I would love to have you as a subscriber, and of course, when planning any event, make sure you have fun. Even as a host or hostess, your job is to kind of get the party started, to set the mood, to get everybody going. So don't forget to enjoy, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.